Kylie. Kelly, it is so delightful to have you here on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. I'm so excited.
Me too. So, Kylie is brilliant at helping entrepreneurs grow their business without social media. I repeat, without social media. So, tell us tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then we'll get into your approach.
Yes, of course. So I am a business strategist just outside of Sydney in Australia. And just what you shared, I help women, specifically female founders, grow their business without social media. And I guess the reason or the way that I fell into that is because I was just feeling really burnt out by social. I was doing all the things. I was, trying all the strategies, being consistent, but I wasn't seeing anything for like any ROI for all of the work. And I came from a photography background. So pre-pandemic, I was a wedding photographer for over a decade. So you can imagine like how visual, how much of a perfectionist, how I like curated
Yeah.
feeds. So that added to it as well. Like that added to the stress of like wanting it to all be perfect. And then when I wasn't actually making any money or seeing any engagement, like we've all had those things that we post and there's like 2 likes and it's just like heart, like soul crushing, heartbreaking. So it was when I stopped and I took a step back and looked at the numbers. I was like, okay, there's got to be a smarter way. Like I've got two little kids that we were just talking about before we hit record. Like I don't have all the time in the world to figure this social game out. So what's going to work and what's going to work quickly? And so now I just build my business and my clients' businesses through relationship-based strategies. And yeah, it's so much more fun.
Oh, yeah, that's huge. And I think so many people can relate, right? We have culturally, we're on social media a fair amount. So we think if we have a business that we also need to be on social media all the time. And it's so defeating when it isn't working. And it's even more defeating when you have little ones at home or a family or a partner who want your time and that you want to be with. And instead, you're on this never-ending hamster wheel of social media. And I describe it as like what it felt like in college when I would finish a paper and then there'd be another assignment due. And it was like, when is there going to be a break? It's the perpetual homework assignment. And as business owners, really, we get into this because we want freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the social media piece in particular is the thing that makes us not feel free at all.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think as well, for anyone listening, knowing that there are other options. And like, if you love social media, if you are, authentically, like you love entertaining, you love creating content, like if that is your jam, go for it by all means. Like, I'm
Right.
not here to say don't use it, like do it. But if it doesn't feel good, if you're not seeing the results, if you're doing it just because you think you have to, there are other ways. Like, it doesn't have to be this. And I love that analogy of the never ending homework. I think that is so true because it doesn't seem to stop, right? Like, how do you make that stop if you think you have to do it? Like, yeah, I love that.
Yeah. No fun, no fun. But you're right. Like, I have one friend who genuinely enjoys getting on camera and just speaking from her heart. She has a real gift for it. And I think it's in some ways really therapeutic for her, but for every 50 to 100 coaches and consultants that I talk to, like 99.9% of them, if they had the choice, they would not be on social media, or they would do it out of inspiration and not because of obligation, which is a very different
Mm-hmm.
energy around the work. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
you talk about relationships. What does that mean, right? Relationships can be it,
Mm-hmm.
it can be like give us some tangible insight into what you mean by that.
Yeah, of course. So I'm a big believer that your business is always going to grow at the speed of trust, right? So it's thinking about, okay, who is also serving my ideal client? Who we have to be strategic. We're not just here, like we want to make friends too, but we have to be strategic with our time. So thinking about, okay, who else is serving my ideal client that would make this strategic relationship? And then being a human being about it, right? Like reaching out and actually getting to know the person. And if you can put time into building those relationships, then so much comes out of them. Then collaborations come out of them. You can do a lot of things online with, bundles and summits, podcast guesting like this, or freebie swaps, or, JV webinars. There's so much goodness that can come out of it as long as we start with that strategic brain of like picking people that are serving our ideal client and then going about it in a really human way. And I think there's been a lot of what would I say? There's been a lot of stuff online, especially with like the DM strategies and like people trying to build relationships, but it's not genuine, right? It feels slimy and it's not quite authentic. And I think you can really stand out if you come at it from this heartfelt approach and really take an interest in their life outside of their business as well as what they're building. And then remember the fortunes in the follow up. Don't just start a friendship and not take it to where it'll benefit both your businesses as well.
Right, right. So let's rewind and go back to when you were asking yourself, okay, there's got to be a better way. What happened next?
Yeah, so I actually decided to host a virtual summit. So a little bit of insight about me. I'm not naturally an extrovert. Like I would stay at home in my pajamas and like not see another human if it was a choice. So I decided to host a virtual summit, which is a little bit crazy knowing that about me. And at this point, I didn't have an email list. I knew I wanted to help women, but I didn't know how. Um, so I was like, well, let's just create the platform, invite all these experts. They can share their magic, their genius, and they invite their audience, right? So another thing to know about me is I'm a bit of a go big or go home girl. So it wasn't a small event. It can be, if you're listening to this and you want to do it, it can be smaller than what I did. But I had 30 speakers. I literally just pitched my butt off to these people that served the right people that I wanted to work with. They all submitted pre-recorded presentations. I like had the platform for them. We all promoted the event together, and my email list grew from like 0 to 600 with one event. And that blew me away because I was like, oh, okay, suddenly it didn't cost me money. It cost me my time. Let's be real. Like there was a time investment, sure, but it didn't cost me a cent in paid ads. I wasn't on social promoting it or trying to go viral or anything. And then the beautiful thing is after the event was over, I then had these 30 incredible women that I didn't know before that I could build this relationship that we are just talking about with, that's then gone on to lead on to so many other things. So that's where I started. And then I got the bug. I was like, oh my gosh, 600, this was amazing. Like, and it felt kind of like I was a party host. I was just like making introductions. And then so I went on to host more summits, and then I've gone on to host bundles and do all sorts of things since then.
Oh my gosh. I love, love, love that story. What really popped out for me was that they were pre-recorded presentations, right? So you had control over everything. It wasn't just you were hosting a live event. You got to kind of organize and time everything with the pre-recordings. Is that right?
Absolutely. I even added a little intro onto the start because it's like everybody coming. Obviously, I wanted to highlight the guests, but I also wanted them to get to know me if they're being added to my audience. So I added a little intro to introduce the speaker and a little bit of a call to action at the end, making sure that there was something tangible for them to go and do after they watched it. So again, a time investment, of course, but that meant that the relationship that I was building with those new people to my email list was deeper than if they just signed up for a random summit to listen to one particular person. But yeah, and I'm a bit of a control freak. Another thing about me, I like control, and which is like the worst trait because you can't control much in this life. But yeah, it was a much more controlled way to do it than doing a live event.
Did you figure that out yourself? Did you DIY that? Because actually, my personal trainer had a summit and she hired a coach to help her navigate every little detail of the summit. Because, like anything, there's so much more to it than you know when going into it. So I'm curious, like, did somebody guide you down that path or was it a DIY kind of thing?
No, it was a completely figure it out as I went. I did attend a few summits as a attendee, so I was taking notice of just the way that it flowed and the way that it ran. So I had a little bit of insight from that perspective. But I will say it was a steep learning curve because I was DIYing it. There were things that didn't work, that didn't go right, that I was like, okay, note for next time. So it was definitely a steep learning curve, but it was doable, right?
Yeah. So, a couple questions for you. Number one, I'd love to hear like a highlight or a story around the 30 women that you got to meet through the process and what kind of fruitful things happened as a result of that.
Yes, of course. So gosh, I must say that's kind of where my network started. So most of those women I am still connected to today. And this was years ago. This was in 2022 that I hosted that summit at the very beginning. And as all businesses, I've evolved with what I offer and things. But because I was clear on the person I wanted to serve, those relationships are still fruitful to this day. Like I still have a great business relationship with all of them. I will say with any event that you host, there's always going to be people that don't follow the rules, that don't promote it, even though that you're asking them to, things like that. So look, to be completely transparent, like I have a little bit of a black book of like the people that don't do the right thing. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but yeah, they've all led onto beautiful things, freebie swaps. Even one of them, a dear friend of mine now, Alison Hardy, she I collaborated with her years ago, and then she joined my membership, and then I taught her how to do bundles, and then her email list grew from like 3,000 to 10,000 subscribers in a year just through this bundle strategy. And now she's gone on to teach other people to do bundles, which I think is beautiful. So like, yeah, there's a lot of power in doing things in a way that feel good, but using the relationships instead.
I love it. I love it. Let's dig in a little bit more on bundles and bundles strategy because I can I can sense that people listening are kind of like, okay, what does that really mean, bundle and bundle strategy?
Yes, of course. So a bundle, if nobody's heard of it before, it's literally like an online gift bag, if you will, where all the contributors submit a resource. It's normally a paid resource, and you sign up to the bundle, and then you get to go in and choose what resources you want to sign up for as well. So the bundle host gets all of the emails generally, and then as a contributor, you get the emails when people decide to come and sign up for your gift. So, which feels much better, right? Like as a person, if you were signing up for something and you got added to everyone's email list, that would just feel slimy and gross. So generally speaking, that's the way that it works. And I think the key at the moment in the online space, especially, bundles are pretty, I don't like the word saturated, but there's a lot of them around now. So the real magic is getting really niched and really specific. So thinking about, okay, what is the exact problem that I solve for my ideal client? Could I create a collaboration, a bundle around solving that problem, and then networking and partnering with people that also complement that? So as an example, to make it a bit more tangible, I've hosted one in the past called the Ultimate Email Marketing Bundle. So I help people grow their email list without social. But in there as well, there were other experts that were helping with welcome sequences or subject lines or deliverability or other parts of the email marketing piece.
Mhm.
Whereas if you compare that to like a general, like grow your business to 10 figures in 2026, which is so broad and so wide, the more niche you can be with this now, the better the results will be. You'll still get really great results in terms of how many people sign up, but it means that it just stands out a little bit more in the noise of the online space.
Mm. So is part of what you do is showing people how to create their own bundle and collaborate in that
Yeah.
strategy.
So I do every 6 to 8 weeks, I host a free kind of workshop event called the Empire Expansion event, where I take them through my anti-social framework. So literally, it's like how to scale without social. So if you imagine capital V for visibility, very
Okay.
very original. Down one side, there's relationship-based strategies. So we have summits, we have bundles, we have podcast guesting, freebie swaps, even networking, right? Like so, anything to do with relationships down one side.
Right.
And on the other side is more like search and SEO. So that still has a place, like the YouTube, the Pinterest, the social, if you enjoy it, the
Mhm.
PR, media, all of that still has a place as well. Your long form content, your podcasting, all of that kind of
Mhm.
thing. So the way that I teach it is it's nice to choose one strategy from each side. So have something that is the more long term search and SEO strategy. So for me, it's my podcast
Mhm.
that might take a little bit longer to see that ROI, but at least then you're playing the long game. And then for those faster dopamine hits, go for something that's relationship based as well. So just choose one of those things on the relationship side, give it a crack for 30 days, see how it feels. And you don't have to host straight away. You could just go and participate, right? Like be in a summit, be in a bundle, do a podcast guesting session interview, and just see how it feels. And then you make a decision what you want to continue on for the next 30 days. So that's kind of the way that I teach it.
It's so beautiful. It's so refreshing. I really love it. I talk a lot about marketing, and this approach feels really fresh and effective and very much like, choose your own adventure and stay in touch with your own knowing and your own self along the way. And you can always readjust, switch, pivot, recalibrate. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Tell me a story about what's happened for a client of yours, someone that kind of pops to mind. Where were they when they came to you, and what happened for them?
Yeah, of course. So straight away, Laura, one of my clients, she's in my mastermind, jumps in. So she's an incredible copywriter. She's super talented at copy. But when we started working together, she didn't feel like she was known, right? She didn't feel like that her name was getting mentioned in rooms she wasn't in. And that's what she wanted. She really wanted that to be happening quite organically. So we've started working together, and straight away, I helped her plan a summit. So she did an audio summit. She did have little video snippets to promote it, but it was mainly through audio. And straight away, like the connections that she had just from, again, creating the platform and inviting people to come to speak. She's now rinsed and repeated that and done that for a second time, and she's going to be continuing that through 2026. But on top of that, then we've layered in the PR strategy. So we're getting her featured in Business Insider and Forbes and places, again, so that we have the keywords, we have the search and SEO, that the backlinks to our website, right, that really start to kick in as well. So when you can do things like that, where it is both of those approaches, and I mean, she's living her best life now. She's like got so many connections. She gets emails and pictures come to her, which is what she'd always dreamed of, and was like, oh, I'm not at the cool table. Like, how do we do this? And again, it's not about being cool or popular. It's just about the relationship piece, and being strategic with who you're working with. So yeah, and that's one of many. Like, there's so many. I've helped women get on TEDx. There's been so many wins over the last 12 months, but that comes to mind because I'm like, I think everybody can relate to that feeling of like not feeling cool, like not feeling like you're part of the popular group. And actually, once you can create an event, a platform, it could even just be like a networking call or something of your own that you're inviting people to, suddenly it opens so many doors for you.
Oh my gosh, incredible. Yeah, I think it's really common for an entrepreneur to know they're good at what they do, but nobody else knows like how good they are. And that can be really frustrating. Like, yes, we want to be talked about in rooms when we're not there, but really we want to be in demand. We want, more people coming to us and wanting our help and our expertise. And I'm curious with this copywriter, did her offer end up changing once she became more visible?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the beauty, isn't it? When you have more people that are sought after you, when you are in demand more, you have to think about your business a little bit differently. You can't be doing all the one-to-one work when you have no spaces left. Or
Right.
so yeah, she's definitely evolved her offer suite now and more of a membership type subscription, copy editing type offer, which is beautiful because she can serve more people. She also has two little kids that she's about to homeschool. So like, it's worked beautifully with how her life is evolving as well. And I think there's a lot to be said in just being okay that things change and giving yourself permission, right? Like to change your offers and to think about things. Like I used to have, previous to all of this, I used to have a membership, a low ticket membership. It was $19 a month that I scaled to like 250 members, and it burnt me the hell out. Like it was so, I loved it. I absolutely loved all the women there, but like serving them deeply, I couldn't do that with that kind of volume. And at that price point, it wasn't even providing enough income for my family. Like,
Right.
so again, like giving yourself permission to like let go of that. I go, okay, actually, what do I really need for the life I want to live? What do I need to charge? And then making sure that, the visibility supports that you are getting people that know about that offer through that pipeline. But yeah, I think it's that permission piece, right? Like it's so easy to hang on to old things just because we're comfortable, but it's like sometimes you gotta let go of them.
Yeah, and I think as a fellow perfectionist, and a people pleaser, like I want to make sure that everyone is deeply supported and very happy and really feel like they're taken care of at whatever price point. So it's really important for my own energy, and I'm sure for your own energy, to like make sure that we're compensated in a way that we feel good about the energy exchange. And so
Mm.
I love hearing about that. What did you end up doing? Did you close down that membership, or how did you transition out of that?
Honestly, I didn't do the best job at it. If I'm completely transparent, I feel like I set fire to it. And then it was heartbreaking because that's not, yeah, like how do you navigate that when you've never done it before, right? So I did increase the price point, but it jumped right from $19 a month to 77. So people left quite quickly. This was Christmas last year, just before Christmas last year, so about 12 months ago. And again, not the best time to do it before Christmas. I had a horrible Christmas, like with all of the emotional things that happened because of the way that I navigated that. But we live and we learn. We live and we learn. But it is still going now, so I still have it running. There's about 30 members now, $77, and it's more of a template membership. If we think about it, it's more about email templates, and they can submit emails for me to review. More about the plan of what to send. When we're thinking about what they want to sell or what their plan is for the quarter, things like that. So it's more of a template membership than what it was before, which was very much like hands-on, me getting deep with them, which I couldn't do with 250 members.
No.
Whereas now, like I've pivoted now to a mastermind model. So I have my signature offer as a mastermind where, I've got 10 women and I get to go really deep. I get to roll up my sleeves. I get to really help them with their business. A lot of them have never been supported with that much depth before, which makes me so happy. And that feels good for me. It feels good for them. And obviously it's a price point then that helps sustain me and my business too, which is important.
What is the price point of your mastermind?
So it's $7,000 for 6 months, and then they get a renewal offer after that. So, um,
Amazing. Yeah,
yeah,
beautiful. I mean, and that's something, if you do it right, you can make that investment back in no time, really. Yeah,
yeah. Well, one of my ladies, Jules, she made it back within a couple of weeks. We did a launch together. We tweaked a few things. I supported her through a launch. And she made that back really quite quickly. Others it takes longer. It depends where you start, right?
totally.
But you can make that back pretty quickly if
Yeah.
you have all the pieces kind of ready to go.
So you shared that when you kicked off your first summit, I love that you didn't even know who,
What I was doing.
what you were doing. Well, you had never done a summit before, but also you weren't really sure on who you were serving and how you were helping them. But that's the beauty of taking action, right? And just boldly, maybe even ignorantly, like diving in and trusting that some ways, somehow, you're going to come out the other side with more information and more clarity. And so, tell us about how that took shape. Like, how long did it take for you to, and how did you do it, right? The people that I talk to the most uh, have a lot of confusion around either the problem that they solve or the client that they want to work with, or they're often straddling two types of clients or two types of offerings. So it can be really hard to get the clarity, especially when you're in your own head, kind of trying to crack the code inside your own brain, right? You're inside the bottle, trying to read the label that can only be read from outside. And that's the beauty of getting a coach, being in a mastermind, getting outside guidance and perspective. So tell us about your path to clarity around that.
I love that. And I just definitely agree. Like, I think that a lot of times, before I get into the story, I think a lot of times we think that confidence, like we have to feel confident before we take action, when actually, no, 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 it's around the wrong way. Like, you take action and then you start to get clarity and feel confident. And that is exactly what happened with me. So that very first summit, it was actually called the Pregnant CEO Summit. So at the time, I just had my second. So I was still in postpartum. And again, I was trying to build a business, raise the kids. It was so overwhelming. I felt like one day I was a bad mom, the next day I was a bad business owner, right? Like, it was a really tricky thing to juggle,
Totally.
as we know. And so I called it the Pregnant CEO Summit. So everybody that came shared strategies on how they've navigated that. How have they grown their business while they've also been raising their children? So there was a broad range of topics. I will say, because of the topic choices of the summit, like, it was a real vulnerable, beautiful space that it curated, because a lot of people were just being really real with what that journeys look like, and making sure there was something tangible. But in terms of like the ideal client at the time, like I didn't know I would end up here, right? Like, I'm helping women, entrepreneurs grow their business without social, more of a business strategy place. That was more of like, I just want to help women. I know they have kids. I don't know how, but like, let's just create a space for this. And so, like, the 600 people that joined my email list back then, like, they probably still be on it. Like, my email list is much larger now, so I have to look at the data. But like, that was still the person, because my heart was for women growing businesses like me. Right? I think our ideal client is often us a few years ago or a few steps behind. So
Yeah.
that's who that ended up being. And then as I've then evolved, my offers have evolved again through taking action, through the membership, through figuring out what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what people want, what people aren't really keen on. All of that action has then led me to today, where I still host events, but it's very much through the business lens. Again, attracting people that I want on my list to learn about how to grow without social. So the whole journey is really just like taking one action after the other. And just, I almost think of it like, when you look through binoculars and like it's not quite clear, it's a bit fuzzy, and you got to keep like tweaking those dials to make it clearer and clearer.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it's like. It's like I just kept tweaking things, and you're like, oh, okay, listening to the data, listening to the feedback in my body, tweaking to today. That's been the whole journey, really.
That's incredible. It's so beautiful. And what I love, and you touched on this before, is just as business owners, we are humans that are ever evolving. We're growing, we're shifting, we're solving problems for our own self. We're in different phases of motherhood or not in motherhood at all. And really, like, the richness comes from following that golden thread that was hard for you and then you overcame it and now you're one step ahead and you can help others overcome that. And it feels like very, very organic and
Mm.
very rich because it's meaningful for you. And so you can bet that it's going to be meaningful for other people, and other people are struggling with it too.
I love that. And I think this is the thing for anybody that is listening, it's that permission to just, I know there's so many, and this is coming from a strategist, there's so many strategies, there's so many pathways, frameworks, things that work. They all work, right? It's all about figuring what works for you. So sometimes it's not about seeking out help from all the places. It's like, okay, let's go inward. What do I want? Who do I want to help? What have I learned over the last couple of years? What offer feels the best for me? And it's when I've gone inward in those times rather than looking for the answers externally that things have actually clicked and worked for me, which has been the biggest lesson, right? Because I never used to trust my own intuition. I got feeling like, what is that? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I was never the woo person. So like, seeing that happen and unfold has given me so much more self-trust when I do make decisions, when I do make moves in my business or decide to do something. I'm like, yeah, I feel like this is the right thing. Let's just try it.
Totally.
So yeah, for anyone listening, I think that's really important to like go inward first and make sure that you give yourself permission to do that rather than looking for those answers externally all the time.
Yeah, and another way you put that was really how did your body feel? How did your body respond? So when you talk about going inward, how do you do that?
Honestly, I just list, like, it's not even, I don't journal. I'm not really like, I have started a few somatic things because I have anxiety. So like I've done a bit of EFT tapping,
Yep,
breath work, stuff like that, which I love.
me too.
Um,
I'm all
and
about
it
it.
does,
Yeah.
yeah, it does come through when I give myself space. But honestly, at the bottom of all of that, it's like having enough margin and white space in my calendar to go for a walk instead of pushing something else out of the computer, or it's making a choice to go for a swim, or like just creating a little bit of white space and then things come in, right?
Totally.
Or like sitting and asking yourself like, I'm thinking about doing this, what do I think? And stopping and making sure we have white space to listen to what comes up. I don't think it has to be complex or hard, or
Yeah.
it's not like some like you have to journal properly at 5 a.m. before daybreak. Like it's none of that. It's just like
Right,
a
right.
bit more space and listening to ourselves.
Or yeah, or it doesn't have to involve meditating, which I find impossible to do. I'm a big breathwork person. I love because especially if you have anxiety, which I do too, it's more active, and so it like moves the energy in a way that I find doesn't really happen with meditation. And then today I had my EFT tapping. I have an EFT tapping coach, and
Oh, I
I don't
love
know how it
that.
works. I don't know how it works. It's magic. It like opens up things and moves
Mhm.
emotions out and through. And I'm a huge believer in that. So I love that you mentioned that. And I think another thing I wanted to kind of add on to your answer was the counterintuitive nature of the work that you do, that it doesn't have to like, it doesn't have to feel hard, right? Sometimes it's just asking ourselves, what feels the most delightful, what feels the most effortless, what feels the most fun, while
Mhm.
also what is truly solving a problem for another person that's
Mhm.
valuable to them. And I think often we kind of follow what we think is going to pay us the most. And then we
Mhm.
kind of reverse engineer, right? Or we think the thing that's harder or requires more effort that somehow that has more value to it. And it's totally, I want you to flip that coin on its head because it doesn't need to be true. It really, in fact, you'll make more money if you follow that joy and that spark and that sense of effortlessness that's effortless to you, but maybe not so much to somebody else.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's the best thing about being women growing businesses is that we get to do it differently. It doesn't like, and look, there's time for hard work. There's a time to like, where I put in more hours because I'll have a deadline. Like there is the time for that. But yeah, this thought about being in tune to what feels fun, what feels effortless for us, what lights us up, what makes us excited. Even just like knowing yourself, whether you're a fan of human design or like, just knowing yourself intimately is going to be so beneficial because then exactly what you were saying, it's like what does feel fun, what lights you up, and just following those prompts will never lead you astray, will never lead you wrong, and will lead to more revenue because people are attracted to that energy, rather than thinking you have to push through. Like we don't have to do that anymore.
We don't have to do that anymore. And you talked about your kind of the V, right? And then the other aspect of that was the visibility and the what was the
Search
other?
and SEO.
Search
Yeah.
and SEO. Okay. So, and then pick one from each category, right? And my model around that, which I feel like is very much in alignment, is really this visual of of your marketing universe, right? So the
Mhm.
sun in your universe is your website. That is really the most powerful tool that can sell for you. It can tell your story. It's really kind of like your home on the internet and the home of your business. And then there are planets around the sun that circle around there. And those are what I call your marketing activities. Those are, it could be SEO, it could be podcast guesting, it could be in person events, it could be paid ads, right? And
Mhm.
the people that I talk to feel like they need to be on every planet. And what I like to tell people to do is, and there's so much relief that comes when they learn this, is like pick two planets. Just pick two planets. Like for example, my planets are podcasting. This is fun. I look forward to it. It's effortless. I love talking about this stuff and I love meeting new people. So podcasting is one of my planets, and then emailing my list is the other planet.
Mhm.
And I just keep in touch with my people, and I don't worry about everything else. I don't want to be on social media. Granted, I enjoy Instagram from an entertainment standpoint, but I don't want to be working on Instagram. So I have really given myself the freedom to pick those two planets, and I love letting my clients off the hook with that too. It's such a relief
Mhm.
because the way the messaging comes through, like you said, there's endless strategies that you can implement. Most of them work great, but is it sustainable to be trying to do all of those things? And
Mhm.
we want your business to be supporting you and your life and giving you freedom. And I think so often we become self employed, we don't feel free, and we keep thinking if we implement that next strategy, then I'm going to have the freedom, then I'm going to have the financial abundance. And
Mm.
there is, to your point, just there's another way, there's a better way.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, 100%. I love that. I love the alignment we have in the way that we teach and mentor our clients, because that's so similar. And I think just remembering as well, just to add to that, like remembering why you started the business in the first place, right? Like, and back to the self-trust, like also trusting that if you're following what feels good, if you're following what's in alignment, if you are like reaching out, building relationship, like the money will come, right? The money will come. It
Yeah.
will.
Yes.
It's almost inevitable. So all you need to do is take the action. You'll feel confident, take the action,
Yeah.
release the pressure, do what feels good, and trust that, yeah, the money will come.
Kylie, it has been such a delight to have you here today. Before we hop off, if you had one piece of advice to give to our listeners, what would it be? If they could do one thing.
Oh, I love this. Start a conversation today. Think about somebody that is in your network already that you've either done something with before. Maybe it's a past client, maybe it's a past collaborator, maybe it's just somebody that you liked their energy on a networking call. Like it doesn't have to, don't overthink it. Just pick one person, go and start a conversation as a human being, ask them how their year's been. Let's jump on a coffee chat and just get used to having more conversations, because in the long run, you'll be happier, you'll have more friends, and your business will be happier as well.
Amen. Amen. So where can we find you?
Yeah, so my son is my website, kyliekelly.com, nice and easy. And on there as well, I will mention if you're wanting more information about these different strategies and you want your own plan, I actually have a really sexy AI bot that I created, because AI is like all the rage, right? Called Strategic Planner Sally. And what you can do with her is you can literally brain dump what you like, what you don't like, what you've tried, what your life is like at the moment, what your capacity is like. And she will give you one from each side of my V to go and try for 30 days. So the link to her is on my website, or it's just kyliekelly.com/Sally. But start there, because that'll really help you get started.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.